right, guys, welcome back to another New Legacy podcast. I got my man right here, Troy Zanko, with us, and we literally spent all day shooting a crazy Halos today. Amazing race car. That's my first time
Epic, man. That was just insane, man.
Yeah. And then we ran away from some angry people, and
Ran away from some angry people, and
some people cheer on, came out and support, and some kids were asking what do you do, what type of car? It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, to have been where I've been in life, and actually to have little kids look up at me and see me in a car that they're like, what is that? Where's that sound coming? I've never seen a race car like that.
Yeah.
And then they see, this dude get out of it and look at that guy. Where did he come from? Where did he land?
Yeah.
And it was just to have kids look up at you like that, man. Because I never had that growing up.
Yeah.
I never had any adults in my life that I could look up to and wow, this guy is larger than life. It just really hit me, today when I seen them kids look at me like that.
Yeah, it was just what we're doing, making content, growing personal brands, and sharing really beautiful entrepreneur stories, and sharing the struggle and the perseverance that we have to go through today. And literally today, it's it's a taste of what we have to do to make a difference, right? To really put ourselves out there.
Yeah, that's why you've heard me say, my life has basically gone from chained to changed.
Yeah, no, that's sick.
Yeah, and to be driving a dream car like I did today.
Yeah.
I never thought that I'd make it to live half the age that I'm at, and actually too far to have gone further than that. And not to end up with any mental illness or needing psychotropic medications to carry me out,
Yeah.
It was just, today has just been unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you for your time. All right, so guys, we are going to take a deep dive in Troy's stories and his journey, his hero's journey, and how he got to where he is today. And there's a lot of twists and turns, but through all the pain, through all the resiliency, through all the perseverance, through all the challenges, you become the person you are today. And we want a little, share your story, and I want this story to inspire a lot of people. And maybe when you look back, maybe a couple of years from now, when you're at a different level, you're like, hey, that was we're kicking it in the right feet, with the right feet.
You're jumping on board with me at the very, very beginning, man. And I really appreciate all that you're doing for me right now.
Yeah.
And I think in looking back, you're going to be like, wow, boy, to hear your story, Troy, from where you came from to where you were when I met you, because you didn't meet me, you're not my worst.
Yeah.
But you're meeting me right now.
Yeah.
And, later down the line, you're going to ride with me and go, wow, you was doing good then. Look at you now, son. Yeah.
All right. So when did your journey started? When did the turning point where you're like, I can't live this life anymore? So let's have a little background before that, but then give us that moment when you're like, I got to make a change.
Man, I always start my story with saying, I was drunk for the first time at 5 years old. Don't know of another person that could say that.
Damn.
Well, I was born in Alexandria, Virginia, Fairfax County, Mount Vernon area. George Washington's home. Actually, could almost see his home from where I was raised.
Oh.
And went to elementary school there. I think I was a pretty normal kid there for a few years. I don't think it lasted much longer than a few years. It took an immediate turn to the left when I was 5 years old.
How so?
My mother remarried, and my stepfather was a tragic alcoholic. Very, very mean man. And I think he tried to love, like a lot of alcoholics do. They think they're loving the best that they can, but that's just not good enough, Loving the best you can still ain't good enough. But he was an alcoholic, and I was just with him and his aunt and uncle at his house, at their house. And he was drinking, and I was finishing off every beer that he was drinking. And he kept sending me, a 5-year-old kid, into the house, to get him another beer.
Yeah.
And after, a couple, if that, I was wasted, 5 years old. And this was a guy that would actually stop at the liquor store and get his liquor and buy mine.
Damn.
5, 6, 7 years old. And so I started out being an alcoholic early. My mother would drop me off at my grandmother's house quite often on the weekends. And my grandmother would even serve me alcohol, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, glass of beer for lunch or dinner. And that's not something that any kid should be exposed to. I didn't have anything to compare it to whether this was normal or not. I mean, it was just the way that I lived.
Was there a reason why they were giving you that, or were you having like any trouble? Like,
I just think that it was just something that was just normal. My grandmother, her husband died, and he was a raging alcoholic, all of his life. And I just don't think that some people have a concept of really, how much harm you're bringing on a child, and I think when you have adults in your life that don't live very healthy lifestyles themselves, and they are hurt in areas and broken in areas that they've never addressed. Only thing that hurt people know how to do is create more hurt people. They begin to instill these habits in children, and it's just normal. But in what world is really giving a child 5 or 6, 7 years old alcohol normal?
yeah.
But apparently it seemed to be, as I was growing up. And I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house growing up.
Wow.
And that was just very normal.
Did you feel any love from your parents growing up, or?
I would have to say, in spite of, I'm sure, what they would say, no, I didn't really feel that. I think to some degree, me and my mom had some measure of closeness. And I had some measure of closeness with my grandfather, the grandmother that I spent a lot of time with on the weekends. When my grandfather died, that seemed to also have been a real turning point in my life. I think I was probably closer to him more than I was anybody. Then when he passed, I got a little bit more reclusive, I think. I kind of withdrew. And I think I kept withdrawing even as a child.
Yeah.
I never really learned how to really connect with anybody. And it's probably because as I was looking at these other adults in my life, it didn't seem to me like whatever they were calling love or connection, it was just very weird to me. It just didn't seem like a very loving, tender environment. Like everybody was always drunk. There was always hell raising going on. There was always some debaucherous party going on. It just was a very dysfunctional environment that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Not a healthy environment that I think any child should grow up in. And that's why one of the things that I'm so passionate about today is, adults that have children need to be overly mindful of their behavior. And some of their conduct that they display in front of their children is a lot more harmful than what they think. I think a lot of adults just live their lives and they don't really see the impact that a lot of their behavior has on their kids. I don't believe that they really fully understand that. Well, I'm telling you, coming from somebody that was greatly impacted by the behavior of adults around me, I'm speaking as the adult and I'm speaking as your child. It affects your children, believe me. You're smoking, the drinking, all the bad nutrition, and all the just behavior that adults display in front of their kids. And sometimes the kids are just too ignorant and innocent to really even explain how they really feel. But it really does impact a child, how their adults act around them.
Wow.
It impacted me a lot.
It's just the imprint, like such at an early age. Do you believe that, people say that like from ages 1 to 7, that's basically your personality and like your kind of baby blueprint for the rest of your life. What do you think on that?
Oh, I would absolutely have to agree with that. I think one of the things that I even struggle with even later on in life as an adult is finding out who I am and just what is my personality.
Yeah.
Who am I? But something else that also takes place when you're trying to develop an identity as a child, when you introduce a substance to a child or anybody at any age, whatever age is that they start to ingest these substances, that arrests their development. And when a child is still undergoing a developmental process, and you introduce something to them, that itself will arrest someone's development. Now you got a child that never develops. And then you end up with a 25-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old man who's still 10 years old, 15 years old, because his development was arrested at that point right there where he started ingesting these substances. You can't develop under those circumstances. When a child is going through this developmental stage in their lives, 5, 6, 10, even 15 years old, they're still developing mentally. When they start to ingest substances or even get the idea that they're okay, I can't wait till I can, because parents, how many times you told your children, I can do it, but you can't? That's confusing to a child. A child's trying to develop, and now you're instilling even more confusion into them because they don't understand, why can you and I can't? Oh, so now they may even start sneaking it. It's a very, very dangerous thing to be introducing substances to a child when they're already struggling to develop.
So that's your early, 1 to 7 or.
No, I mean, there were some other, significant issues that that occurred in my life, even between the ages of 5 and 10,
Well, what's a big one?
One big one is, I think, at about 7 years old. The same stepfather was with my mother at her sister's house, my aunt's house.
Yeah.
Big party, everybody's drinking and everything. At 7 years old, again, when a child is trying to learn how to even develop, I'm having to witness at 7 years old my stepfather murder his best friend in front of me. I watched this with my own eyes. Stab his best friend and watch his best friend fall in front of me. It's pretty traumatizing for a 7-year-old that's trying to process that. How do you process that?
I don't know how to process.
You can't. You don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But you do know it's not right and this isn't good. And that was a very traumatic experience that I had to live through. So you have a child that is drinking at 5 and 6 and 7, and he's watching his stepfather kill his best friend in front of him. What kind of life is this? What is going on with these adults around this child that they're allowing this to happen?
Wow.
And so the thing that I'm so passionate, if I could almost say angry, I think it's very righteous to be angry at anybody that brings harm to somebody that's innocent. I think it's a very righteous indignation to be angry at anybody that's innocent that's being harmed.
Yeah.
And I had to endure all of this harm. And so when I grew up, now I see the adults and I see their behavior around other children.
Yeah.
And it just infuriates me. It just absolutely infuriates me the way adults conduct themselves and their behavior around children because of how it affected me. And I'm very, very almost hostile, if you will, towards what adults do around their children.
Oh, wow. So how did you cope with that as a 7-year-old, with seeing a murder? And
again, I believe it was just, I really withdrew. I really withdrew within myself. And I never really knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I must honestly say, even in my late 50s now, having gone through all the developmental processing that I've gone through, I'm still, even now, learning who I am still today. Yeah. I mean, I've certainly got a lot more grasp on who I am, because I've overcome so much. But I think that just through how these situations impacted me as a child, I withdrew within myself, and I never learned how to develop relationships with people. Oh, wow. I think that was the thing that I've cheated myself on the most in life. Is I don't think that I've really been able to connect with people. Yeah. Never, ever have been able to connect with people. It just felt safe. It just felt safe. I see my grandfather died, so that made me withdraw.
Yeah.
And then me and my mother started, getting away from each other. We was a little closer as I was a kid, but that we started our separation early. And so just internally, it just felt safer, just keep withdrawing, just keep withdrawing, keep withdrawing. I kept seeing these people, leaving my life, and other family members that I never felt close to.
Yeah. Just rotating too.
I just never felt close to anybody.
Yeah.
And it just at some point just felt safe to just not. And so when I'm trying to learn how to develop into a real person, just a person,
Yeah.
I'm struggling how to do that, and struggling how to have relations, and it just all seemed to be just so overwhelming. I just never seemed to have ever developed. And so I just completely withdrew within this shell. I never even really came out of it till I was 50 years old.
Damn.
And I just cheated myself out of so many relationships with people.
Yeah.
Just never knew how to connect with people.
Wow. What is your one advice where, like, a lot of kids right now, we're going through a recession, we're going through some hard times, and there's a lot of, like, hardships right now. Like, what do you recommend to the kids? Like, let's say they're going through a hardship with their family. Like, how do they get help or so? And for the parents, like, what advice would you give them, like, going through this stuff? Because you experienced, like, I would say the extreme of pain, right?
Well, the first thing that I would say to parents is, if you say your kids shouldn't, that's because you shouldn't yourself. Don't tell your kids that they shouldn't and it's okay for you. Whatever that behavior is, it's confusing to a child.
Yeah.
And if you're even in the shot of my voice right now and you've never had a real person that you could look up to, you look all around your life and you see people smoking, people drinking, people sleeping around, people smoking weed, and internally that's not how you should be living. Well, I'm here to tell you now, I don't live that way. So I don't care if you're looking for a big brother, or if you may be just a younger guy that just like a better influence in your life, whether it's a father figure, bigger brother, or just a friend, just a solid dude that actually, hey, this guy looks like he's got his life together. He doesn't look like he's got any bad habits going on in life. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He looks jacked. His nutrition's on point. He obviously trains, and he has some pretty fast cars. This dude's pretty cool, Yeah, I'm that guy, because the last thing I want to see you do is, I don't want to see you hurt yourself. I'm not in your life to bring you any hurt. I want to stop you from hurting yourself. I'm just somebody that has been down a long, long, dark road. And I can really help you avoid some of these potholes and mistakes that I've made. If you're just looking for a solid guy with good influence, you need to come on board with me, because that's all I know how to do, is just bring about good influence. Seen enough bad influence. I know what bad influence looks like, and that's not what I'm doing today.
So you witnessed the murder, you went through a lot of pain and suffering through, trying to cope and get past it. What's the next phase in this journey for you? And what age, significantly wise?
Well, something that I want to just kind of touch on too, before we get too far ahead, in the timeline.
Yeah.
Is, when I got to be into my later teens.
Yeah.
In early 20s, then I really started getting into the hardcore drugs. Cocaine, more and more alcohol, a lot of weed, a lot of crack. And just being in places that I never thought I'd be in. And one place ended me up at a wedding reception where everybody was lit. Because after all, that's just the only way the adults were in my world. Well, at this reception, I ended up getting into a fight with somebody that attacked me from behind. And that's something that I also think that you should be guarding yourself against too. I don't believe that it's a very safe environment for anybody to be in if there's just lots of alcohol flowing, because you might be the innocent one, like I was. You might be the innocent one. but you don't know how that alcohol or that drug is going to trigger somebody else, and then you get hung up. And that's what happened to me. And I was literally beat almost to death, literally, and left on the sidewalk for dead. And medevac had to be called.
Oh, wow.
My face was so completely disfigured, I was beyond recognition.
Damn.
I had a shattered orbit, had a fractured nose, all the ribs were broke on one side, broken wrist, broken ankle, concussion. You literally could not even recognize me. They thought I was going to die. And I've been in that situation 3 different times in my life. And a head is only meant to take but so much abuse. And even to this day, I suffer from a little bit of short-term memory. I have vertigo really bad. And so that's just a result of being at the wrong place at the wrong time with people that are ingesting substances. And so that's what my substances ended up leading to. Ended up me almost dying on the street and being medevaced. That was something that I didn't recover from for a long, long time. And the other thing that caused me to even withdraw even more is a family member was involved in that. The family member didn't even take up for me in that situation, took up for the person. And so now I'm struggling as a child growing up in a family with developmental issues. And now I've got alcohol substance abuse issues, which is further arresting my development. And now I've got family turning on me. And I'm like, well, I need to withdraw even more now. Yeah. So I just withdrew more and more and more. And through the process, also, I picked up another bad habit. And that hit me at 10 years old at my grandmother's house. That's when I started picking up pornography addiction. And for those that maybe are my age, at that time, there was a lot of soft core stuff that you could find on cable with HBO and Cinemax and stuff. And yeah, I would stay up late at night, and that's what I would watch at 10, 11, hardcore pornography. And even though I eventually grew out of the drugs and alcohol, many years later, the pornography addiction really, really made me withdraw even deeper into myself because of the guilt and shame behind it. Wow. And that was the thing that probably, if I was to be completely honest, is the thing that probably destroyed my life the most over all the drugs, all the alcohol. Yeah, that's crazy. Don't even sample these things in life. Yeah. These things don't even need to be sampled. Yeah. Because whether it's a drug, whether it's a drink, whether it's pornography, it always shows up with a romanticizing feeling to it that it's going to make you feel good. And it sucks you in, and then you're hooked. And then that's going to bring about a lifelong history of bad decision making. There's no good decisions made when you're under the influence of anything. And for me, some people have an addictive personality. Yeah. Some people, we've all bore witness to people being able to use a little bit of something and still seem to keep their career, still seem to keep their relationship. And I think therein lies the danger is some people, sanction the approval of some things just because they seem to think, well, it didn't destroy my life. Well, wait a minute, that's still qualifying. What do you mean it hasn't destroyed your life? How far have you gone in life? You still waiting on your 401? Are you still waiting on just retiring? Okay, so actually some of what you're doing actually has affected you more than you think it has because you haven't really strived for any more than just where you're at. You're still stuck where you are. So no, there's a danger in being involved in anything that alters who you are. Pornography is the thing that destroyed my life more than anything, even over the drugs and the alcohol. It has destroyed countless marriages. And let me tell you why, as a person that was involved with it for decades. The dopamine dump and the adrenaline rush becomes way more than just normal interaction with your mate. And it's going to bring about ED, and it does in a lot of men. And they're not even able to function as men anymore. What do you think that does to a man's self-esteem? When his woman can't even get him off and he can't get her off either. It's a very dangerous thing to be messing around with pornography. Very dangerous. And it's going to destroy every relationship you have. What I'm trying to help men do,
Yeah.
ultimately, my ultimate goal, what I'm trying to help men do is be just that.
Yeah.
Be men.
Yeah.
And I believe that there's too many things that men bring about in their lives. And they think just because they are a male, that qualifies them as being men. No, no. First of all, men look like men. You know, men have a stature. Men are recognized when they come into the room.
Yeah.
And I think that men just think that they just have this self-entitlement once they get to be a certain age that I qualify as a man. No, you don't. Your behavior is telling on you. Your behavior is saying, no, you still have a lot of growing up to do, because I've never, ever looked at or read anything dealing with a superhero that drank, smoked weed, or engaged in any mood-altering substances. A child wants to see their father as a superhero that actually looks like it in stature and in conduct. And that's just completely substance-free. I believe that the best way a person is going to live to optimize their full potential in life isn't to participate in anything even minimally. Not even minimally. None. Nothing. Complete abstinence. Not one cigarette, not one beer in the evening, not a glass of wine, just nothing. I believe where I'm at now. Now, I didn't think this some time ago, but because of where my development has gotten me to at this point in life.
Yeah.
What a person is saying to themselves when they are exercising poor nutrition, I just don't care about the way I look.
Yeah.
I don't care about my health. You see, I listen often to what a person don't say, almost more than what I hear them say.
Yeah.
I hear what a person does a lot more clear than what I see them do.
Yeah.
So when a person is exercising poor nutrition, they just told me they don't care about their health. When they see that fitness is unimportant, they don't care about their health. And when I can look at a man or woman that introduces substances into their body, they are saying, I don't like who I am. If you really admired the person that you are, you really like the person that you are, why would you alter that? You do realize weed, alcohol, any substance, the whole purpose in it is to alter you. Why do you want to be altered? There's something about you you don't like. I don't use drugs and I don't use alcohol, not because I don't want to go to jail again. I don't not use drugs and alcohol solely because of my health. I abstain from it because I don't want to alter who I am today. That's the reason why you do it. And I know that's the reason why you do it. So if we could just get the substances out of your life, we can get to the root cause of why don't you like yourself? Because you like yourself when you're drunk. You like yourself when you're stoned. You like that guy or girl. You like that person. So what is it that you just can't embrace who you are full time? You can only embrace who you are part time. Or maybe actually you're not really embracing who you are at all. You just can't stay stoned and can't stay drunk 24/7 because you do got to go to work. No, you just don't like who you are. So that's why I don't use substances. Not because I don't want to get in trouble with the law, don't want a DUI. It's not health issues. I don't want to alter who I am. That's my story.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole story is just a life full of bad nutrition, a life full of bad physical fitness. And first of all, if you're making bad nutrition choices and you're not concerned about your physical fitness, that's not the problem. The problem is that you have given yourself permission to say that that's okay. Why is that okay? Why is your physical fitness okay that it's not fit? What is it about your personality that has you say that that's okay? Well, if it's just you in the house, okay. But the problem is, fellas, you're leading the house. Aren't you supposed to lead by example? Shouldn't physical fitness be something that you would want your kids to admire, wouldn't you? Good nutrition, wouldn't you want your kids to admire that? And let's really get into a deeper dive here. How much longer do you think your lack of physical fitness and poor nutrition, how much longer do you think that's going to keep you around? Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about maybe it's going to cause you some real health issues? Then that's going to leave your daughter, that's going to leave your son real sad one day when you were supposed to walk him down the aisle and you weren't there. You might want to think about that. Well, you know, after years of the drugs and alcohol, I never did any real hard time in prison. I've been to a couple receiving camps.
Yeah.
Did go to Powhatan, Virginia, a correctional facility for some time.
What age was this?
This was late 20s, early 30s. But all through my 20s, I was in and out of county jail constantly. So I am a convicted felon. And honestly, I'd probably be doing a double life sentence if I'd really got convicted of everything I've ever done. I've not been a really, this is the other significant issue that I still have to deal with today, that substances bring about. Substances, low self-esteem, lack of confidence brought on by poor nutrition, lack of physical fitness, is through the process, it is impossible to engage in substances without hurting other people. Even by default, your mother don't want you drinking and smoking. That hurts her. Your father, grandmother, grandfather, they don't want you drinking and smoking. That hurts them. So even by default, you're hurting people by omission. If you're engaging in substances, you're hurting people by even omission. Okay, now let's talk about the commission. You can't engage in any substance at all, none, without committing harm to other people. You're going to make bad decisions and you're going to say bad things that really hurt people really deeply. And today, the thing that no matter how much personal development that I have put myself through, I will never, ever be able to heal fully from the harm that I know that I've caused other people. There are people walking about today, walking wounded. They've got scars that will never heal, ever. I have to live with that. And if you engage in substances, I promise you, you have already wounded people. They will never heal, ever heal. And if you don't think that's the case, then you're still too warped in your substance abuse. When you start really identifying what you're doing to not just yourself, but to other people, you can't hurt yourself by yourself. It doesn't work that way. Hurt people hurt people. We've all heard that. And when you're bringing harm to yourself, you think you're just only harming yourself? No, you're not. You're inflicting a lot of harm on other people. And now that I've cleaned my life up and I've been clean from all substances, pornography, my life is completely clean. I live a good, healthy, clean life. I still know that there are people walking wounded. I cannot heal from that. I can heal all my hurts. I can heal my broken places. I can mend where I've been broken. You're not going to mend that. You're never going to heal that part. You can't. And it's not being able to heal that part that keeps me never wanting to hurt another person ever again. I've hurt enough people that I have to live with. And that's the danger in getting involved in substances. And it's not just substances. You know, poor nutrition is also a substance. It's not just the substance, it's the mindset that gives you the permission to even engage in this activity. And the substances themselves, yes, that's the issue, but the deeper issue, it's the mindset that gives you permission that that's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay to drink. And it's not okay to think it's okay. That's the problem. So it's the mindset. And that's what you need to change about where you are in life. That's what's changed my whole life. It was a change in mindset. I had to change my mindset. How I thought. Troy, you can't just stop smoking. You have to stop thinking why it's okay to smoke. Troy, you can't just stop the weed. You have to address, why do you even think it's okay? Wow. It's the mindset. Yeah. Troy, you have to get rid of the alcohol. But why do you even give yourself permission to think it's okay to drink anyway? So it's the mindset. So yes, you have to deal with the substances. You have to deal with the pornography. Troy, what makes you even think that this activity is even okay? And the sooner you deal with this, the sooner you can turn your life around, because let me tell you, from what I've had to endure myself and actually change about myself with my own life. Yeah. You don't stop smoking and you're good the next day. You don't stop weed and you're good the next day, or drinking or pornography. How many of you have been okay as soon as you break up with your girlfriend, you're okay the next day? No, you're not. When you quit substances, it takes a minimum of 18 months to 2 years. Damn. 18 months to 2 years to even get back to close to functioning normally. And you think you're making good decisions for your future? You think you're making good decisions to guide your family? No, you're not. Not if you're engaging in substances. And stop thinking that you haven't crossed the line with substance abuse. There's no such thing as substance abuse. Can I say this again with feeling? There's no such thing as substance abuse. Use is abuse. Did we got that clear? Use is abuse. Use itself is you abuse. Can we just stop thinking about the substance abuse? How about that? Can we just start thinking about it's you abuse? Damn. Can we just turn this thing around here? When you smoke it's not smoking abuse, it's you abuse. There's no such thing as drug abuse. Doesn't exist. It's you abuse. Damn. Any measure of use is abuse. Any measure of drinking is abuse. Again, it's you abuse. You don't need to be putting that stuff in your body. You don't need to be altering who you are and abusing yourself. You're not loving yourself when you do these things. You know, I never understood the concept of what it was. How are you going to love anybody else if you don't love yourself? Oh, we've all heard that. Do you know that most people that actually say that are in the throes, when they say that, of not even loving themselves? It's just such a catchphrase. It's just so, well, it sounds good. You can't love anybody unless you love yourself. Do you know what it is to really love yourself? Okay, let's see how much you love yourself. Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you smoke weed? Do you watch pornography? Is your nutrition on point? Are you physically fit? Run down the checklist. How much do you love yourself? I didn't think so. What I promote in my life is I promote just healthy living. Healthy living and teaching myself how to be a grown, mature man. I am promoting healthy living and mature living. Maturity comes from the word martyr. And a martyr is the one who undergoes a death for a righteous cause. When you say a child needs to grow up, they need to mature, what does that mean? It means they need to put away the childish behavior and grow up. When you're smoking cigarettes, you need to mature. You need to grow up. So you keep telling your kids they need to grow up, but you won't. You need to tell your kids they shouldn't drink, but you won't. Stop drinking. You need to tell your kids all that they shouldn't do, but you do it. Do you realize your kids are more mature than you are? That is insane. Most kids are more mature than their parents in a child's way.
Right.
Of course. But I'm very, very passionate about healthy living, healthy lifestyle. Alcohol has completely destroyed this society, totally destroyed this society. And I just spoke to a man the other day that he felt very guilty after the conversation that I had with him because he knew what I stood for. He works at Philip Morris tobacco plant. So immediately he felt convicted. Do you know that I didn't even have to tell him to feel guilty?
Okay.
He just knew internally, and I'm talking to you, he knew internally, I don't stand for smoking, but he knew he had a hand in being a catalyst to get it in your hands. He was convicted in himself, just working at a tobacco plant. Do you know that all the years that I drank that I couldn't get drunk by myself? Because I didn't brew alcohol.
Yeah.
I didn't brew alcohol. Let me tell you something. Unless you're growing a lot of people do now, but most are still buying it. But unless you're growing your own weed, you can't get high by yourself. Unless you're growing your own tobacco, you can't smoke by yourself. Unless you're brewing your own alcohol, you can't get drunk by yourself. You need a lot of help to destroy your life. Do you realize how hard it is to destroy your life? You can't even do it by yourself. You need help to even destroy your life. Let me give you an example. When I go to the store and I buy alcohol, that alcohol had to get on that shelf somehow. Those workers in that store stocked it guilty. That alcohol had to get to that store somehow. The driver had to drive it to that store. He's guilty. Somebody at that warehouse had to stock that truck. They're guilty. All that alcohol had to be brewed somewhere. So in order to even destroy your life, there's a lot of guilty people in this chain here. So I hold everybody in the chain of command guilty of helping destroy a whole society. It's not just the drinker. It's everybody involved in getting it in your hand. For somebody to get emphysema because of all their cigarette smoking, as an adult, you have to take accountability for that. That's your fault. You have to take accountability for that. But you still couldn't do it by yourself. You needed a lot of help to kill yourself. Somehow them cigarettes had to get in your hand and you didn't grow that tobacco. So the way that I live my life, I hold everybody guilty. And it's because there is nobody that holds themselves more guilty than me. That's why I have had so many adults in my life help me get to where I am as a child. There was a catalyst by offering my stepfather let me even smoke weed with him. I wasn't even 10 years old. So I had a lot of adults help me get it rolling, help me get the help destroy my life, get it rolling. But at some point, you're left by yourself. Those adults that helped you, they're not there to heal you. I had a lot of adults in my life to help my life go left. But you grow up and you have to take accountability. Yes, they had a hand in getting it started. But that's where it stops. They started it. I have to stop it. And then I take ownership. So you have to take ownership. So the reason why I'm so hard and I just hold so many people accountable and guilty is because I hold myself of highest accountability and I hold myself guilty of everything that's ever gone wrong in my life. And I just told you it's the adults that got it started. But I hold myself guilty for all of it. And I just don't want to see you go to this place. That's what my life is all about. My life is all about identifying where guys and young ladies are going left instead of going right. And I can identify these things because I see the behavior. And what my word is, and I've said it before, what my word is, it's nothing but a winch to get you out of that ditch you're in. That's what my words are. And I can look at you and see you ain't happy with your life. I can tell by the way you eat and by the way you look. There are some deeper issues there that you're not dealing with. So sometimes when I'm online, and I post my content,
Yeah.
I know the ones that just been hit real hard with a gut punch by what I said because of what their comments are. And their comments are always nasty. I'm like, that's the one that needed to hear it because I just hit them in the gut so hard they're doubled over. They don't know when they're going to be able to stand back up. Words are powerful, and that's all I need my words to be, is I need someone to recognize I'm in the ditch and I can't get out. But his words look to be a winch. I think I just need to hook up to him and he can help me along the way. That's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to get you to set your life back straight again. Certainly, I don't think your kids would mind you. So one of the times that I was incarcerated, I had a gentleman come to my cell. And he just said, I just felt led to come to your cell. He said, something tells me that you know something. And it just the way that he said that didn't really even hurt. I was having a hard time processing. What do you mean? But he said, I want you to come to Bible study. And at this point, I was, I think, 32. I knew at this point I didn't want to drink anymore. I knew at this point I didn't want to smoke weed anymore. I didn't want any more drugs. I knew that I was done. I was just done. No 12-step, no therapy, no counseling. I was done. So I went to the Bible study. It's the first time that I ever recall even hearing the name Jesus. And I attended the Bible study and just started listening to as many preachers on the radio as I could while I was incarcerated, and I just started studying the Bible. And it just impacted me in such a way that I was seeing that Jesus never seemed to need his mood altered. He never seemed to need his character altered. I just never read anywhere where he needed to ingest anything to alter his mood. And I thought, I think for the first time, I think I've seen a man that I just admired. I never seen that in my life before. And I just started digging more and more into the Word, and not just the truth that came off the pages, but the man himself. Where was this man in the physical world for me? I'd never seen a man like this before, And so, as best I could, I wanted to implement what I was seeing on the pages of this book. A man that seemed to be a man of honor and dignity. And that's where I am today. That's what I'm trying to do today. Yeah. I'm just trying, if I'm able to introduce somebody to Jesus along the way, fine. If all I'm able to do is offer up, guidance to somebody and just a healthier way of living in a man that, has an honorable character, in myself that just doesn't live, recklessly. That's what I'm trying to do. So I started reading the scriptures more, and I still just couldn't get the pornography out of my life, though. So I got rid of the substances, and I was more and more convicted, as I was reading the truth, and don't think that was something that he was engaging in, but that's something that had plagued me for years and years and years. So I got out of jail and, just been kind of struggling through life for a long time. I still just didn't really have any purpose. Just didn't really have any goals, ambition, dreams. And I think that's one of the things that I just felt so robbed about, even as a child. I didn't have any dreamers in my life.
Yeah, because they were just, like, I don't know, they just want to escape, guys.
Yeah, I was just living around a bunch of adults that just lived, to, like you said, escape.
Yeah.
Everybody was consuming everything, whether or not it was some kind of, doctor prescribed psychotropic medication, or some kind of substance. I just never, I don't know. I'd never seen anybody that, was living healthy around me at all. I never grew up with any dreamers, and I felt like I was robbed from that as a child. And growing up and cleaning my life up a little bit more, I started seeing I need to start establishing relationships with people. I need to start being a more healthier person.
Yeah.
And that's what I started doing. And I started looking at people, that looked like they were dreamers. They looked like they were successful. They were actually doing things in life. And I'm like, where did you get that? Where did you learn this attitude from? Where did you learn this mindset from to think like this? And so, I started gravitating a little bit more towards online influencers that seem to really be doing and living a life that I've never lived. And then I started seeing, so I'm supposed to live life with dreams. I'm supposed to live life with goals and ambition. And so I think that's where I'm at today, really trying to, go from a child that was so lost, so introverted, just so withdrawn, so reclusive, just so recoiled within himself, never having relationships with anybody, stumbling through drugs and alcohol, trying to find my way, wrecking relationships all through the process, finally getting rid of all of that and seeing that there is a different path in life, and it ain't the one that I'm on. So I'm like, I think I need to just change lanes here, because the lane that I'm in, this lane getting ready to end, and there's no road left. But I need to swerve over to this next lane. And so I think that's what I've done in life. I've just decided I'm heading the wrong way and I'm in the wrong lane.
Yeah. That's crazy. What was like the thing that got you into the current business that you're doing? Obviously you have a big operation here, and like you got to a place right now where your business is running good and you be able to get like the cool stuff that you dream of having. Literally, you told me that was your dream car and you got it like this week, and like, how did that all like catch up? And now you're expanding more. Now you're going out and building like communities of men trying to get better. And you already started coaching some people I saw on your social media. So it's like you achieved this pillar of the business. It's running itself. You're like, you're just happy today. You told me like, hey, look, I got my guys out there. I'm paying their bills. They're out there helping me. And now I get to build another pillar in my life and get to live my dream even more. So you were talking about dreaming, but, earlier, like we were there with sharing the moment, with you. And
well, when I came up from Florida, because you can't label so much out even in a dialogue like this. Yeah. There's a lot of things that, can't be said, but I had spent some time in Florida after leaving Virginia, spent some time in Florida, came back up to Virginia, moved in with my cousin. This is when I got introduced to crack, and at that time, I had my car stolen. I was involved in heating and air conditioning with my father. So that's how I got into the tree business, and because I needed a job. So my cousin's boyfriend was in the tree business, so I got into the tree business. Yeah. And I just had a natural ability, for climbing trees. I was just good at it, Which, by the way, I think that's my Chinese animal, monkey. Yeah, something like that. But my spirit animal is a wolf. Let's get that straight, though. So, so I got in the tree business, and it was just a means to facilitate my drug use and my drinking.
Oh, wow.
And I just stayed with it, and I stayed with it, and here 40 years later, I was in partnership with somebody for for a short time, some 15 years ago, before I left Virginia. Been down here in Nashville, Tennessee now for 15 years on my solo venture in the business.
Yeah.
Still stumbling a little bit, because I still had some developmental issues. And let me just push a pause there real quick and just say, listen, it's not just health and nutrition and substances, because I still found a way to destroy my life, and none of them were a part of it. I was still in the process of destroying myself. There was no substances involved. There was still pornography involved, and yes, pornography is a substance, and it is the most deadliest substance too, far deadlier than drugs and alcohol. So I still had that going on in life. But just my mindset, the way I thought, and I lived life with such guilt and such shame brought on by not only the pornography, but I just didn't feel good about the way that I looked. It's amazing, how much just changing your physique and changing your nutrition can just change so much about your life. But so I just didn't really have any ambition for the tree business other than, well, this is just kind of paying some bills. But as I started getting more confident about myself, and I started making better life decisions for myself, started making better life decisions for my nutrition, my physical fitness. Now, I have been in and out of the gym, for many, many years. But it's one thing to kind of, be, kind of okay with your nutrition, kind of okay in the gym, kind of okay with your physical fitness. But there's levels to life. And I just seen, I don't like this level. I think I need to be more disciplined. I need to get more disciplined. And I think with instilling more discipline on my fitness and my nutrition, I think just that discipline itself started carrying over. Getting disciplined in these two areas has been the key to the success in my whole life. Dialing in nutrition. Again, not just eating okay, but dialing it and nailing it. And not just kind of going to the gym, throwing some weights around. I mean, really nailing the fitness. These two things were a game changer in my life when I got real serious about them.
Yeah.
And I started calling myself to accountability. Troy, you can do better than this. You can do better than this. You need to do better than this. You need to really dial this thing in and be more serious about it. And just because I held myself accountable and I said, Troy, you're guilty of not being disciplined. I hold myself accountable and I hold myself guilty of where I'm falling short. I'm very critical about myself, extremely critical about my behavior. And when I started dialing in my nutrition, started dialing in my physical fitness, it started to instill a more disciplined mindset within myself, and I started making better decisions for my tree business.
Wow.
It just spilled over. I don't think people really think I don't think they put enough emphasis on just the power, just the sheer power of purposeful and perfect nutrition. Purposeful and perfect physical fitness. It's not just an aesthetic thing. That's actually just a part of it. It is such a catalyst for success throughout your whole life. And when I started dialing that in, my business started changing. I started making better decisions for the business. I started not doing things just very defensively, which I was finding I was doing too much in life. Now I'm being a lot more aggressive, being more offensive with marketing, just being just offensive in just everything I'm doing. Yeah. And I think when I started having that mindset change, brought on by just a change in fitness and nutrition, my business just started exploding. I did start to acquire some more staff, some more assistants, more secretaries, and able to delegate things a little bit more and just learning what it is. Hey, being in the tree business is a lot more than just knowing how to start a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And just having a name on the side of your truck. That's what 95% of these, I can't even call them companies, but that's what they are kind of driving around here.
Yeah.
They're not really companies. They're not really growing. They don't really have a desire for just a regional or statewide takeover. That's actually where my mindset is today. I don't want to just be just another tree company in my area. And I'm not going to be another tree company in my area, and that's not where I am. I'm not just another tree company in Nashville. We are heading towards a complete regional takeover. And do you realize that it's all because of my nutrition and my fitness? That's what changed it all. That was the game changer. When I started really making these definite decisions about my nutrition, my fitness, changing the business, my life has changed. My life has probably changed more in the last 18 months than it has in any 18 months in the history of my life. And I'm 56 years old.
Oh, wow.
My life has never changed this much. I got a supercar in the garage, and I got the hottest Pro Street hot rod in the entire state of Tennessee.
Yeah, that thing's sick.
Maybe even in the central time zone. This is a bad dude out there in the garage. I got a supercar, I got a hot rod. You know, I got a airbrushed Harley that was airbrushed, you know, by a famous person. And just the house that I'm living in, it's just my bank account, just everything in the last 18 months. I don't look at the price tag on much anymore at all. I live within reason. I'm very responsible about my money. Mm-hmm. If I want it, I go get it. And if I want another one, I go get that one. That's just the way that I'm living today. Yeah. I don't deprive myself of the things that I want. And I believe that that's how a man should live. If a man has not found a way to get what he wants, he's falling short. A man should always find a way to make it happen. And I'm at a place in my life now that it's taken me some time. Fellas, just because you're 25, you're not a man. Just because you're 40, you're not a man. Just because you're 50, you're not a man. If you still have these behaviors going on in your life, you haven't arrived. And you're not going to. You're not going to arrive with the substances in your life, poor nutrition, lack of physical fitness. You will never be where I'm at in life today. And you're definitely not going where I'm going. Not with the behavior you're implementing, but we can change all that around. And it only takes a decision to say, I'm done. Hold yourself accountable. Be willing to be guilty. I can do better than this. I'm guilty for not doing better. We'll link up. I'll ride with you, man.
So thank you for sharing your story. And I could tell like how passionate you are about it and the lesson you learned along the way. Lowest lows, and then some, you know, there's some high up there, but there was a lot of lows. What are some lessons from your life that you could put like, you know, in like one or two sentences that, you know, you think can dramatically change, you know, somebody's life that's watching this, probably going through hard times, you know, for men in business, they're always worried about like, oh my God, is my business going bankrupt? Like we're in a recession right now. Or people that are just going through a breakup, you know, they don't know like what color the sky is, everything's haze, right? You know, someone's going through some hard times. What are some, you know, lessons from your life of the hardships you've been through that they could take and walk away with today? And, you know,
I think no matter how much one has deluded themselves with substances and bad behavior, how much I've even myself deceived myself. A man's conscience knows when he ain't living right. I don't care how much substances you have in you. I knew what I was doing wasn't right. I knew my behavior wasn't right. It didn't matter how blasted or tanked up I was on anything. My conscience was telling me, I can't keep doing this. Fellas, I continued to prolong the success in my life because I was just continuing to pleasure seek, and I just kind of wanted to numb what I had to deal with. You have to be willing to put aside the pleasure seeking for a season. Just a season. You just got to put it aside. And you just got to lean into the struggle and go, this might not be easy, but I need to listen to my conscience. My conscience is telling me I can't live like this. The sooner you can address this, the sooner it can all be over. It can really all be over. What it is, the pain and the struggle that you're going through now and how bad it's going to get. I just had to own up to the fact that, hey, my conscience is telling me I have to stop this. And as soon as I started to address that, that was a shift in everything in my life.
Oh, wow. For someone that's like, I say like not an adult yet, like they're younger, from your perspective, if they want to live a phenomenal life and, obviously they got time on their side, what are some advice you would give them to kind of like compress time and get them on the right path that they're going after sooner? Because, not being guided properly, they'll probably waste 10, 20 years in the wrong direction.
That's easy because first of all, you look at me, I'm not your dad. And you can look at me and tell, oh, I don't talk like your dad either. And you can look at me and tell I'm a pretty straight shooter. So the best advice that I've got for you is, for one, stop taking your own, for one. Because that's the worst advice you've ever given yourself, is your own. And just recognize that not everybody's out to hurt you, and that there are some people like myself that is in a position to just help guide you. And I just wish that I had a guy like me growing up. I just wish I even had one. Life is all about ones. Life is all about ones. It's one right decision, change your life. One right phone call, change your life. One right encounter with the right person, change your life. I'm that guy for you.
What you said really resonated with me, because a lot of people that are more they could convey emotion and share emotion, like the energy.
Right.
Those are like the best people I work with, like in terms of like sales and like just having them like see their business grow.
Right.
Because like human, we connect with emotion, and a lot of the people that are more robotic, are more like, oh, I'm business. They don't get a lot of love from like organic leads and stuff like that, so they have to spend a lot of money on ads. But yeah, I mean, you're so passionate about your story and your mission. It's a different level. There's levels to it. Like people can't, there's a gap, right? So let's say there's like a benchmark. People that are more organic and they can share emotion, they're like, I think up here. The one that can't do it, they would pay to bridge that gap more. So,
well, I don't believe that, first of all, even the whole concept of putting these two words together, personal development. We hear these two words individually, but we never hear them put together. And it's a foreign concept, I believe, to most people. I don't believe people even understand really how deformed their development really is. I think most people, because most people have substances floating around in their lives to various degrees.
right.
I don't believe that most people really have a concept of how deformed their development is. If you are not, I'm a man myself that certainly don't mind in the least in saying I'm in touch with my emotions every day, every single day. I remember Jim Valvano actually once had a speech at a NCAA, I think an awards ceremony or something, and he was dying of cancer. He was saying that a day with him is not successful unless he experiences all basic 4 human emotions.
What are those?
Anger, laughter, sadness, fear. It has to, maybe fear wasn't one of them, maybe, I don't know, but it was the 4 basic human emotions. Yeah, I think fear is one of them, because there's certainly fear of failure. Fear of failure is a really good motivator. Yeah. I'm a man, I cry. There's not a day that I live, not a single day that I live that I don't cry. Yeah, I know people hear me, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes though. A lot of times I pour my heart out in a post. I say what I say on a post and then take a minute, to write what I gotta write as a caption, then find the right song. Sometimes, I'm a mess after I post. Maybe that ain't always what's seen, but if you're not able to be in contact with your emotions, there's something dammed up in your life. Something is damming that up because your emotions should flow. And if your emotions aren't flow, when I say, I don't mean just a movie you watched. I mean just something. Can you hurt over the hurt you've caused somebody else? Are you really, in touch with, just what it is to be an emotional person? One thing is, are you able to be angry at your own behavior? Mm-hmm. Not many people, I don't think, are. Are you able to be angry at the hurt somebody causes the innocent? That's righteous indignation. Can you be angry for that? Mm-hmm. Are you even able to be moved with emotions? I don't believe that many men cry at all. They don't even know how to. And I believe it's because, for one, they've either been taught that that's not what men do. No, that's actually why you're so weak. It takes a strong man to really be a man and be in touch with all human emotions. And I have never felt more alive in my life. I am more alive and more free and more liberated than I've ever been in my whole life, because I'm in contact and connected to all of my emotions every day. Not a day that goes by I'm not in touch with all of my emotions. I've never been this free in my life.
Wow. So I know right now you're on a big project, putting out, your personal brand online, mm-hmm. and then you're also launching a community, and, you're going to be coaching people, not just fitness, but, from what I'm seeing on the podcast, mm-hmm. is that you're finding people that need help, mm-hmm. with your message, and you're there to help them to bridge that gap, mm-hmm. cross that bridge that they need to cross, or mm-hmm. get to that, that cross that ceiling to get to their mm-hmm. next level. Because your message is clean, simple, but very emotion behind mm-hmm. it. And I think a lot of people are, looking for that, this time. So if people are looking for you to reach out to you, like, share your Instagram, share, mm-hmm. Your social media, so they can reach out to you and maybe potentially working with you.
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. My name is Troy Zanko. Get it right. Zanko, Troy Zanko. If you've never had, really, like me, a friend, a clean, healthy friend, if you never had a dad that was a clean, healthy dad, I'm just wanting to be somebody for everybody. I mean, I understand the hurts, the habits, the hang-ups that we all have. I get it. And my whole platform in life today, for one, is I just want to promote healthy living. And it's all going to be on the foundation of good nutrition, good physical fitness. But that just exposes so many other things. When you really get your body in shape and you get yourself dialed in to good nutrition, good physical fitness, then we can start to deal with some of the other things, because there's not a man living that don't have something he's not dealing with. Mm-hmm. And he just won't deal with it. And it's that one thing right there that's going to be your breakthrough to take you to that next level in life. Mm-hmm. I believe some women are like that too. There's just some hurts and habits and hang-ups that you got to deal with, and you won't deal with them. And I know some women's issues can be a little bit different than men's. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I think for the women is they have encountered so many men that they never should have encountered anyway. And it's the men that have actually continued to really, really mess up a lot of these women. Mm-hmm. And that's unfortunate, because, and I understand the woman's struggle. I totally get the woman's struggle. That wasn't your plan, to be at home with your child. And there ain't no man that wasn't your plan. That wasn't what you really wanted. And, this cycle just kind of continues. And, I just think that there's even, women out there that just need a good solid dude for their children to look up to, and, I'm willing to coach anybody and be a mentor to anybody that just wants to experience a new, healthier life. That's all. Nobody coming into your life to hurt you. Nobody coming into your life to harm you. The dudes or the ladies, it doesn't matter. That's not who I am. I've heard way too many people. Mm-hmm. I just identify the hurts of other people. And that's all I'm trying to do is help build your self-esteem back up, help build your confidence back up, because that's going to be what is going to promote you to the next level in life and make all your decisions in life much healthier, much more of a success. Let's get the physical fitness and the nutrition dialed in.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And Troy, thank you for being part of this podcast today. Thank you for offering your high ceiling living room.
I appreciate
for this
man.
shot
I
and
appreciate you.
this.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, guys. Thank you. See you on the next episode. And reach out to Troy. He's building his page. It's very engaging. And the stuff he puts out on his Instagram, he puts his heart into it. And you could tell with every post. So reach out and let's get rolling. Thank you, guys. Peace.